So, BIP of Bizarre Interest Productions, and it's finally time to finish and flush out a video I didn't finish way back in the day, and basically make a pseudo-sequel to that, hopefully with better audio and not uploaded close to 12 a.m. in the night. Allegedly, we'll see, but yeah, when we talked about it, basically I said and agreed that yes, the franchise built upon connections arguably should have benefited from this more. To build upon what we said prior, tag duels are great for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it gives the writers and the characters opportunities to put two characters either aligned on opposing sides or in the process of that path eventually coming together or having to unite against a greater threat. Like someone had said 2 months ago, this works well, especially in series when there's a major antagonist that's hard for the main protagonist to take on alone. If you have a significant opponent in a story arc that's or a tough obstacle and there are two characters of rocky history, it's a great opportunity to have them overcome that obstacle and combine their skills in the face of a greater threat. And while it's probably because we don't have an official tag circuit set in real life, it's telling Takahashi even included the concept halfway through the Duelist Kingdom, especially when you have the experience Yugi and the underdog with Potential and Joey did, who were able to use their skills to navigate the maze, protect their monsters, and in the face of Gate Guardian, were able to fuse their monsters and win the duel. This is also great because Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets accused of either doing too much with its cast or struggling to balance their cast while also giving their stars too much time to shine. And we're going to talk about duels where it absolutely would have benefited the entire cast. After all, let's look at the data. 5 out of the 8 series actually had the U-Boy team up with the best friend, with Vrains, Sevens, Go Rush being the exceptions. And in Latitude's cases, there are definitely story moments where they help each other out against the same opponent, even if it would have fit better had they teamed up, and one especially needing to benefit from that. The best friends and the girls have teamed up in duels before: Crow and Akiza, Yuzu and Go Gentaka, and Yuhi and Yuamu, all of whom either defeated a major general on the villain's side, won against low-stakes duels that also showcase their ability to work together, or establish a threat that was hard for them to defeat and would be interesting to see how the others would have worked together. Heck, lead boy and lead girl have almost never teamed up in a duel before. And while Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always struggled with its female leads, and even if the new ones still have areas of improvement, Gallop especially was adverse to having its female characters be relevant from a dueling perspective, or if they were relevant, would give duels that would make sense to their growth and development to someone else. Alexis, Akiza a few times, and even Oi, because we've seen tag duels in the past bolster several characters at once, and for these women especially, there's definitely some examples we'll talk about that could have helped out their storylines and characters. After all, the main U-Boy and the rivals seem to be more common when it comes to tag matches, but 8 series, it's only happened about 4 times, which I'm surprised by. For context, that's the original series, Zexal, Arc 5, and Go Rush. So the question becomes, which series would have benefited from having more tag duels? So let's go in order. With Duel Monsters, I feel like they handled them well enough, since by going by the manga, we've had Yugi and Joy versus the Paradox Brothers, and that's easily one of my favorite duels for Duelist Kingdom. Then you have Yugi and Kaiba on top of the tower that was going to be destroyed, and the anime had quite a few more. There was when Serenity, Tristan, and Duke had to team up to fight the 4 for the Big 5, and Tristan was sacrificed to raise the stakes. Then there was Yugi and Joey working together against all of the Big 5, Yugi and Kaiba against Darts especially. Even a Kaiba Core or Cranberry had Siegfried establish a strength by decimating Rex and Weevil at the same time. The only ones I can think we really would have needed was Kaiba and Joey. In the manga, they never really squashed the beef between them. Anime-wise, while he does show some sort of respect to Joey, at least in the original Japanese dub of the Battle Cities Finals, considering what we know about their standing in GX, I think it would have been a cool opportunity for them to have a tag duel. The only problem is that there isn't necessarily part in the story where I could fit, but if you could find one, you let me know in the comments. But like I said, regarding the fact that a girl has only teamed up with the best friend, honestly, I said before that Taya should have dueled Donnie Subs in a previous video, instead of Yugi needed to doing. But you know what could have worked, but also served as good commentary in hindsight? Having Johnny challenge Yugi, but Yugi asks Taya to duel with him, and during the duel, Taya ends up using Yugi's cards and combos to work together and beat him with Atem, well, without Atem stepping in all that much, proving that Johnny underestimated her in more ways than one. I mean, besides, you're never going to get 2 girls in a tag battle that... Wait. Arc 5 had Yuya and Shun do the Tyler Sisters, who we love here, and Yuamu and Epoch fought the Tall Queens in Go Rush. The only 2 times that's actually happened. That's pretty cool. Anyway, for GX, It's interesting because Jaden actually has tag duels with Cyrus, Alexis, Aster, and Jesse, but he doesn't have that with some main characters that either would have been a slam dunk for, or in scenarios against the main threat besides Mizuchi, aka Serena. Like I said with the Bastion video, I think Bastion dueling someone to show Jaden he could draw upon the spirit's power could help, especially the Supreme King. But imagine if Bastion jumped into the fight with Bao to help Jaden, and when Jaden hesitated because of his hesitancy on using polymerization, Bastion decided to use polymerization instead and fuse his own monsters with Jaden's monsters and use it to sway him into showing that he can use his greatest asset without being afraid anymore and overcoming his trauma. Also, I'm not the only one who brought this up, and we touched upon it last time, but you know what really benefited from having to team up with Jaden in a duel? Anyone when it comes to the threat of Sartorius and the Shadow Riders. Imagine if Jaden had to team with Alexis to fight Night Shroud, given he was the first Shadow Rider, Alexis' brother, and the threat was so massive they had to work together, being a complete contrast to how they tag duel in Season 4. Or had the final battle in Season 2 between Sartorius having to fight Jaden and Aster at the same time, and Aster sacrifices himself to keep Jaden in the game, so that both heroes play a role in defeating Life of Destruction, Aster being saved in comparison to his father through contributing, and both of them defeating Light of Destruction with Plasma and Neos working together to stop the satellite, alongside Tyranno. The Dark World arc also would have allowed them to get a dueling resolution with Jaden and Cyrus having to work together, given the tension between the characters by the time the other four got sacrificed. Then with 5Ds, I'm partially fine with this because mostly Seasons 1 and 2 did a good job giving the characters enough of an emotional arc for them to have their own 1v1 duels. And Season 5 had everyone and Team 5Ds finally worked together outside the relay duels, besides Yusei, which do not count because those are more knockout styles of duels. My issue more so is with Season 3 and 4 because we set up new antagonists with the three Emperors, and the only ones that duels them are Yusei and the twins. The latter gets a good job setting up the threat of an Emperor, but not only does Lester not do anything, having Team 5Ds have to work together to take them on earlier and barely survive through the teamwork would have made more sense. We've never seen Jack or Yusei work with Akiza in a duel. Aki and the twins have never been in a duel together. Heck, Jack working with Leo and Luna versus Apora is probably one of the more unique scenarios in terms of main character archetypes teaming up in a tag duel. Anyway, Zexal surprisingly did a good job with this. Yuma teamed up with Shark for some good development against his former gang that was using him. Then Kite ended up working with him to get Heart back. Then in Zexal 2, we had the fun tag tournament that ended up with Yuma having to work with Garog. Then Yuma and Ray having to fight Vector. Then we had the Power Trio and the Arclight siblings teaming up. The Arclight 3+5 combo against Misael. Mirag and Durbe's demise against Vector. And one of the best final villain bosses against 1000, having Yuma, Nash, and technically the Spirit of Kaito working together. Hell, some of the Barians took down two of Yuma's allies at once. But there are a few glimpses of wasted potential. The story really had moments where it felt like Shark and Rio were going to team up against Durbe, and they really should have teamed up against Abyss so both of them could earn their number of cards, but semantics. Plus, Yuma and Rio working together felt like it was going to happen, given Rio was grateful for him for saving Shark. And Tori can actually duel decently, and it would have been nice to have her and Yuma team up. But sadly, it wasn't in the cards. To be fair, we also should have given Rio more duels. Arc 5, on the other hand, did a good job with this for the most part. Yuya actually teamed up with quite a number of allies. Dennis, Gogenzuka, Shun, Reira, Sawatori, and Sora against the Disney martial artists, Battle Beast, Tyler Sisters, Obelisk Force, and Captain Cutter. But heck, we even got Yuya and Reiji versus Leo, one of the big bads. We almost never get that in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, why did we never get him working together with Yuzu? Like, even though Reira and Ray involved, it was such a wasted opportunity to not have him break free his arc and work together to save his counterparts and her counterparts, or get a chance to talk to Reira or Ray. Hell, wouldn't it have been sweet to have Yuya and Yuzu team up during the Miami Championship Battle Royale and promise to meet in the finals only for their separation to sing? It'd even make their dynamic and relationship cute and sad. Jeez, am I a sadist for finding ways for preteens and young adults to have to come up with ways to combine their suffering against real threats and adults who want them to? Yes, and that's what you get for assuming I write my scripts with ChatGTP, you absolute heathens. And for Vrains, I could do a whole video on this topic alone because it's such a shame Vrains had a great cast, but since the plot and duels take so long, having tag duels where Yusaku could bounce off everyone else would work. They made a whole point of Yusaku, Go, and Aoi teaming up in Season 1, only to kill off Aoi immediately to Spectre because they didn't want to use Akira as his victim to establish his threat level. Why not have Yusaku and Aoi having to work together to beat Spectre if he beat Akira, and use him as hostage because him sacrificing himself for both of them would hit even harder, especially since Akira's related to Aoi. Heck, Go was the first duelist Yusaku enjoyed. You think these two wouldn't have a fun WWE tag team-like mentality if they have to team up in a fight / duel? Heck, Soul Burner and Playmaker never team up in a duel, which is such a shame because Go Forward and Boy heavily have scenes where it feels like he's warming up to a friend. And what makes Soul Burner's dynamic with Playmaker unique is that he's the first and only other ally that he has that, besides Kusanagi, that ended up approaching Yusaku with the desire to be friends first instead of enemies or trying to use him. Heck, I like seeing Ghost Girl and Blood Shepherd become an Aoi and Akira team up, but that's all we get. Vrains, play with your character chemistry. Aoi and Emma, Soul Burner and Blue Girl, Owen Blue Angel, Playmaker and Revolver working together against Lightning and Bowman, or the Eye Clones writes itself. For sevens, this cast has so much chemistry that anyone can work. I love to see Luke and Roman work together given the animosity, since the second arc resulted in them having a tense but caring friendship. So having them have to team up would be pretty fun. But remember how I said there was a girl lead and rival pair I thought would be perfect? Roa and Roman are perfect for that. They're literally siblings on this, cousins on the same band, and seeing the Royal Demons rocking with the psychic and musicians would make one hell of a team. For Go Rush though, I just wish Udius and Yuamu and Udius and Yui duel side by side. Like, you got to team up with Zuijo and that guy, which makes him the only protagonist to manage to team with another protagonist on a TV episode instead of a special movie, but I wish there was more. So that's all I got for you guys though. Tell me what tag deals you wish you could have been a part of in the show, or wish we could have saw in the show. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and BIP for Our Interest Productions. Signing off.